Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the 2015 fiscal year budget as presented.
Okay. There is a motion. Is there a second? Second. Further discussion of council? This is a public hearing, so I'll open the floor for public comment. If you'd like to speak for or against this year's budget, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. See no public comment, I will close the public hearing on this agenda item and call for a vote. All those in favor of this year, of the approval of fiscal year 2015 budget, signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The budget stands approved. That then brings us to item B, second reading, consideration action on an ordinance amendment relating to distant requirements from houses of worship and schools for alcohol sales. Do I have a motion by council?
All right, I'll make a motion for that we have consideration and action on ordinance amendment related to the distance requirements of houses of worship and schools for alcohol sales.
Is that an actual motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emanuel. Further discussion of council? This is a public hearing, so I will open the floor for public comment. If you'd like to speak for or against this amendment to the ordinance, basically what it is doing is decreasing the distance requirement for restaurants. This would only affect restaurants that serve alcoholic beverages as it relates to schools or houses of worship, but we would still have a larger distance requirement than other cities in the county. Is that correct, Mr. Thompson? If there's any public comment, either for or against this motion, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on this agenda item and call the question. All those in favor of approval of this amendment signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. That then brings us to item number C, consideration action on an ordinance amendment relating to solid waste to include provisions for disposal of animal waste. Councilman Emanuel, you want to explain what this is?
This is an amendment to our litter ordinance. Much of the language is already in the litter ordinance. This gives us a little bit more definition and defines the responsibilities of the pet owners to remove their pet waste from both public and private pieces of property.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Kraus. Any further discussion of council? See none. Again, this is on for a public hearing. I'll open the floor for public comment, either for or against this motion. See no public comment, I'll close the public hearing on this agenda item and call the question. All those in favor of this amendment signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The amendment stands approved. Item D. This is CUP 1401, consideration action on application by Marceline Hales for a conditional use permit for continued residential use of the .479 acre property zoned office professional located at 2108 East Main Street in Snellville, Georgia. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This is for CUP 14-01 for 2108 East Main Street. It's actually requesting the continuance of a prior CUP to continue the residential use of a commercial zoned property. It's currently zoned office professional. The owner has fallen upon hard times, as many others in the area. It was intended to be used as a commercial development. They haven't had the funds or the demand to make that happen. It's located next to the intersection of Abington and East Main, where the new State Farm, adjacent to the new State Farm business on the corner. The applicant is did request a 6-year extension of that time period. The Planning Commission recommended that instead it be 3 years with one additional written request for a total of 4 years. That was the conditions that were passed up to mayor and council. The planning department doesn't have a problem with that and would recommend approval of that extension through this CUP.
Questions for Mr. Thompson? Mr. Thompson, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I remember when we originally rezoned this property, seems like forever ago, one of the conditions for it becoming commercial was sidewalks. And so that was one of the variances that she had requested, was not to have to put in the sidewalks. As part of the SPLOST, Highway 78 is supposed to be getting sidewalks up to Rockdale Circle, so it will cover this area. Is there a way, because that will be a cost to the community, we'll have to purchase the easement, the right-of-way for the sidewalks. Can we condition this, that she grant the right-of-way?
You could if it's not currently existing within the right-of-way. I can't tell from the map whether or not, it doesn't look like current right-of-way exists. I mean, you can condition the property, I would assume. I would ask Mr. Powell, but we've done that before where we've conditioned right-of-way. Well, you would need a right-of-way giving, not necessarily an easement, but I wouldn't think that that would be an issue, but I would defer to the city attorney for further clarification.
Mr. Powell?
Mayor, those are described as exactions, and certainly if the property owner volunteers to do that as a condition in the negotiations with his rezoning, it's perfectly fine. If they don't, we probably need to have executive session and discuss it.
I believe that.
Does any other council member have questions for Mr. Thompson? Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. If the applicant wants to come forward, you have 5 minutes to speak. You don't have to use your 5 minutes, but you do have 5 minutes.
My name is Faye Eshelman, and although I'm an attorney, I'm here as the applicant's friend. She had to, because due to the same situation that caused her not to be able to develop her property, she had to take some kind of, she has to travel now on a job instead of being here to start whatever business she had in mind. And I was here at the meeting of the Planning Commission, and they did grant her a 3-year extension and with an additional year. And I would just request that you grant it. And in the sidewalk issue, I would like an opportunity to discuss that with her. I don't think you will make any decision about that today, but I would not be able to respond to that issue since we haven't spoken about it.
Does anyone have any questions? I'm sorry, tell me your last name again.
Faye, I'll spell it for you. Eshleman. F-A-Y, no E.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant's representative? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there a motion by council?
Madam Chair, do you want to postpone this until you have an opportunity to ask the respondent whether they would like to grant that waiver? Do you want to just postpone it till our next meeting so that you have an opportunity to post that to the...
Councilman Woods, I can't make that motion. I think
No,
it would
I'm
probably,
not-
oh, you're asking her or me?
No, well,
You said Madam Chair, so that's why.
I know, well, I was asking your opinion. I know you can't
Oh,
make a
yes,
motion,
yes,
but I can't ask your opinion.
Right. I can't, so I'll leave it to council's discretion. I personally think it would be wise. It would save us some money in the long run.
Then, ma'am, would you have a problem with that since the respondent's not here tonight? The property owner's not here tonight. We're just going to postpone this till we get an answer on that easement for sidewalks. Well, we can table it till we'll table it until the end of our new business tonight. You'll have till then to come back. If not, then I'll make a motion to postpone until our next meeting so that she'll have a chance to answer that question, okay? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. That will bring us, well, do we need a motion to, I guess, table?
Yes, I make a motion, we table this until later in the meeting.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emmanuel. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. It is tabled. That brings us then to item number, lost my place again, it's E. Second reading on CUP 14-03, consideration action on application by Snellville Arts Commission and the City of Snellville for conditional use permit to paint a mural on 130 plus or minus feet of the 200 feet of concrete wall in the 2600 block of Main Street West, US Highway 78, adjacent to the New London Shopping Plaza. I believe that there are some pictures here tonight, but we discussed in work session postponing this until we got a specific design. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Yes, Madam Chair, I make a motion that we postpone this until our August meeting, when I believe that's when the, it's going to be after that the artist is actually going to be able to do the work anyway, and that way we'll get a better rendering, and we'll prove it at that time.
The first or second meeting in August?
Let's make it the first meeting in August? First meeting in August.
Okay, there's a motion to postpone. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emmanuel. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. That then brings us to item number F, second reading, RZ 14-01, LUP 14-01, consideration action on applications by Donnell Thompson and Carolyn Properties LLC to amend the 2030 future land use plan from office professional to retail and official zoning map of the City of Snellville from neighborhood business district to general business district, and request for variances for a Denny's restaurant on the 1.23 plus or minus acre site located at 2160 Scenic Highway, Snellville, Georgia. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Let's just go over the case basics. It's LUP 1401, RZ 1401. It's located at 2160 Scenic Highway. It abuts Wisteria North Road, Scenic Highway. It's across the street and adjacent to many other office professional uses. There's a daycare, an office building, and a bank to the south. They're requesting that the zoning be changed from BN, neighborhood business, to BG, general business, and they're requesting to amend the land use map from office professional to a retail land use. Once again, it's a 1.22 acre property with an approximately 6,000 square foot existing building, which used to be the old Duron paint store. They've also requested several variances to make the property work. They plan to allow the building to remain, to remodel the interior, add a grease trap. They plan to make some changes to the exterior of the building. They're going to make the entrance to the building actually on the Wisteria side. There'll be no new curb cuts. What you see is what you get. They'll request no new curb cuts. They'll add some decorative kind of gabled entrances along Wisteria and Scenic Highway. As shown, this is kind of their proposed site plan. They've requested variances to reduce the depths of some of the parking spaces to clear the drive widths they need in order to leave the remaining parking in place while adding several more. They plan to have around 142 seats, with which will require 58 spaces plus the handicap spaces. They've proposed 3 monument signs, one along Scenic Highway, one along Wisteria, and then one along North. Most of them, none of them being over 7 to 10 feet tall, so they're low to the ground. And you'll see down on the bottom left, you can see what they'll typically look like. Please know that the conceptual plan for the landscaping is just that. They'll have to work that out. I'll just go through each variance now so we can talk about that a little bit and run down the request and then the planning department's recommendation. Once again, on number 1, they've requested that these parking stalls located adjacent to Wisteria are 1 foot shorter. We don't have a problem with that. As you notice, they had to squeeze them through here because they're limited by the actual width. We've also requested as part of that to reduce the width of this drive-off from 24 to 21 feet. We really don't see that as a problem, seeing that there's only 1 row of parking there, so it shouldn't be a problem getting in and out. They've requested to reduce the number of landscape islands in this parking row. Basically, they don't want to lose the space. These end caps act as landscape islands as well. And due to the boundary line that's drawn is rather weird and not typical of how parcel lines are drawn. There's actually landscape islands there. It's just technically due to the lot line, they're not actually by definition landscape strips. That goes hand in hand with number 4. They basically had to ask to reduce the width on all of the landscape strips, even though they're there. They're not technically there. They've also asked to be exempt to remove the sidewalk requirement on North Road. When we initially looked at this one, we noted that the county is doing sidewalks on the other side all the way to the end, and there's no other sidewalks on that side for a couple more parcels, but during the planning commission meeting it was brought up that that is our downtown and we kind of want it to be as walkable as possible, and the applicant did suggest that they really don't have any issue putting the sidewalk in. If we want to do it, they'll do it, so you can ask the applicant to go ahead and put those in. We don't have a problem with that. There's also some conflicts with the lighting situation. They're in the last parcel in the corridor overlay. That conflicts with the town center that's next door, which conflicts with our new town center that has different lights. So we want flexibility to put in, to go with what we have now and where to place them to make them look right and kind of use that gateway to ease in. They also wanted to be set back a little bit closer from the curb, and you'll see most of the right-of-way lines are a little bit further back from the curb, so we don't see that as a problem, seeing that most of their sign heights are really low. And there was some other concerns about the back of the building and some ways to address that, and I'll let you guys ask those questions as you see fit. But in conclusion, we don't have any real problems with the zoning or the land use. It's pretty typical use in the commercial district that you can find on Scenic Highway. I think it's great that the building is getting repurposed and it's going to be used. It's been sitting vacant almost 2 years now. It's a good corner. We'll make sure that they do it right, so it's something we can be proud of. And we've basically recommended approval with our standard conditions that they develop it per the site plan. Any non-substantial variances can be approved as determined by the Director of Planning, can be approved during the site development process. Basically approve the variances as submitted. You guys can amend that where you see appropriate. And then our favorite one, uses involving adult entertainment, including any sale or display of adult magazines, books, or videos is further defined by the adult entertainment ordinance in effect on this date. This conditions imposed are prohibited. And that's it. I'd be welcome any questions at this time.
Questions for Mr. Thompson?
Jason, currently there's a driveway, for lack of a better term, that empties there, it has a curb cut there into North Road. Is that going to be used now?
They're going to utilize the North Road. I know there were some concerns for the cut-through traffic there through Scenic, through North, and they had already talked about using some kind of slow-down speed humps, some kind of mechanisms to slow people down if there was ever,
But cut-throughs, but they are going to have ingress and egress to their property from that driveway?
Yeah, they're not applying for any new curb cuts.
But they are going to utilize the curb cut
Yes,
that's
sir.
there now?
That's their intention, yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Additional questions for Mr. Thompson? Okay, thank you, Jason. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Would you like to speak? Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Donnell Thompson. I live at 1216 Somerville Lane, Durham, North Carolina. We own about 15 stores, and we're going to build about 20 here in the city area, not just this town, but all over, and we think this is a great location. We've done a great job, I think, at this point. We'd like to do something to make you proud. When we do a deal, we make sure that we do what you want. We want to join what you already have here in place. We're here to make everybody want to come buy a Grand Slam from us. That's why we're here. And we're going to do whatever this group decide that would make this building look like it should look to be in your city. That's what we do everywhere we go.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
I'd like to talk about the back side that faces North Road.
Sure.
It's kind of an ugly brick wall, and I'd like to see some kind of decorative applique that would make it look a little bit more inviting.
Yes, we've already thought about that process. We're gonna put something that looks like this. Take this as well. We've got, what is it, 3 or 4 of them going in?
We have 3 windows right now and 2 doors on the back side on the North Road side to make that portion of the building look more like the front and the other side.
So it'll look just like the left-hand side of the building? Yes. It'll look just like that.
Additional questions for the applicant?
Go ahead. Mayor
I'm
Pro
sorry,
Tem.
Mr. Thompson, but it was brought up about the sidewalks on North Road. I happened to be at the Planning Commission meeting. I heard you stand up there and say you had no problem with that. Is that, you continue that,
We'll
you have
put
no
the
problem with
sidewalk
it?
in. None whatsoever.
Okay, thank you, sir.
None whatsoever.
Well, I just would like to extend our thanks for considering the city of Snellville to place one of your newest restaurants, and we certainly look forward to that. I didn't know you needed a grease trap because Denny's doesn't have grease. They don't have grease, right?
Just a small amount,
Just a small amount.
just a small amount.
And if we see the Denny's sign and there's 3 X's underneath the Denny's, we're in trouble, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, okay.
Never that.
Okay, thank you.
Family only.
Anyway, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there a motion of council?
Motion to approve.
Is that it?
Yeah, I just got to find the one I want.
Okay.
Motion to approve RZ 1401, LUP 1401, amendment to the 2030 future land use plan from office professional to retail and official zoning map of the city of Snellville from BN to BG, and request for variances for a Denny's restaurant on the approximately 1.23 acre site located at 2160 Scenic Highway, Snellville, Georgia.
Point of clarification, Councilman Emmanuel, is your motion to approve it with the conditions as recommended by the Planning Department and the Planning Commission?
Yes.
And is it also to add the condition of the sidewalks on North Road?
Add the condition of the sidewalks and the redo of the rear wall that
And the
faces North Road.
incorporation of the design for the rear
design,
wall that was
correct.
shown at tonight's council meeting?
Yes.
And that fairly states your motion then? Okay. Let's make sure we're all clear on the record. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by Councilman Howard. Further discussion of council? Mr. Thompson, Mr. Donnell Thompson, the applicant, did you understand the conditions?
Yes,
And are you in agreement with them?
yes, I am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is again on for a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak for or against this agenda item? Please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. I'm in the neighborhood that's directly across from Denny's, and I have to be concerned with the noise of the trucks that deliver to that area. I'm dealing with trucks that deliver to Kohl's and Staples now, and they sit there and run their motors all night long. We have residents that are at the entrance of that neighborhood that is across from Denny's, and I would just ask that you consider the noise from the trucks. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Rollins. Any other public comment for or against this agenda item? Seeing none, I will close the public comment. Mr. Thompson, I will give you an opportunity. You don't have to, but if you'd like to respond to any of the public comment, you may.
We only take out trucks from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., so we won't ever have any trucks there after 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion of council? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion as previously stated, signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. Welcome to Snellville, and thank you. That then brings us to item number G, first reading, RZ 14-02. This is on for first reading. Do I have a motion to waive and place it on our July 14th agenda.
Motion to waive
There's-
to the July 14th agenda.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Emmanuel. All those in favor of the motion as stated signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. Under new business, we have item number A, consideration action on recommendation from boards, commissions, or authorities for reappointment of those members whose term of office expires on June 30th, 2014. We have reappointment of the Planning Commission board members. It's my understanding the Planning Commission is recommending that the following board members be reappointed. That would be Joe Williams, post number 2, Ida Graham, post number 3, and Todd Warner for post number 4. The Board of Appeals is recommending that the following board members be reappointed. Dennis Lawton, post number 1, Tim Van Valkenburg, is that correct? Post number 4. Parks and Rec Advisory Board is recommending that Simon Cole be reappointed to post number 4. And the Downtown Development Authority is recommending that Don Goldsmith be reappointed to post number 1 and Nelson Williams be reappointed to post number 2. At this point in time, I am not making any nominations for any board appointments. Is there any further action that needs to be taken?
Yes, Mayor, again, as we spoke in the work session, we recently passed a resolution where we asked that all boards and commissions make these recommendations to the mayor and council, not necessarily for the mayor to make a recommendation or to make a nomination, but so that we know who the boards themselves feel are working on those boards and who they'd like to retain. It also gives those boards an opportunity to vet anyone who's interested in being on those boards, so that when the nominations come up to the mayor and confirmation comes to council, we have a level of we feel that at least these people have been vetted. The members of those boards and commissions have talked to them, they've explained what the duties are, and those candidates have been in agreement. So basically, all we're doing tonight is we just want to put all these names on record in the minutes, so they're in a public record, that these are the results of those commissions and those authorities, that these were the people that they want to retain on the board, or people that they want to nominate, they would like to have nominated for replacements on the board.
That brings us to item number B, consideration and action on recommendation by the Board of Appeals for the appointment to post 2 for mayor's nomination and council's confirmation. Ms. Ferris, as the chair of the Board of Appeals, who is the Board of Appeals recommending for post number 2?
The Board of Appeals is recommending Matthew Sleesmack. I can't pronounce his name right. We started with 4 people. 2 people withdrew. We interviewed 2 candidates, and we unanimously said that he was the one we would like you to appoint.
Thank you, Ms. Ferris. Again, tonight I'm not making any nomination. There's no further action to be taken on this agenda item. Is there any further discussion?
Only that, once again, that we have the Board of Appeals nomination on the record, and that we have a record of that, that's who they have vetted and who they nominated for the position.
Okay. Item C, consideration action on election of parliamentarian. Councilman Emmanuel, you have a motion.
Yes, I have a motion to confirm Dennis Conway as our parliamentarian.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Howard. All those in favor of the motion as stated signify by raising your right hand. That's 6 in favor. All those opposed, 0 opposed. The motion stands approved. That's the end of our new business. That brings us back to item number E, second reading on CUP 14-0, Item number D, CUP 14-01. Ma'am, did you have an opportunity to talk to the property owner?